I'm going to talk about What We Do in the Shadows, and there won't be spoilers, so enjoy. What We Do in the Shadows is a 2014 movie about vampires. It's basically one of those mockumentaries. It's a documentary crew following the lives of New Zealand's vampires. The reason why I wanted to talk about it, even though it's an old movie, is because they're putting out a new TV series based on this movie. And I haven't seen the TV series yet, but I cannot wait. I decided to watch the movie again. It is a mockumentary following the lives of 4 New Zealand vampires. It is just so funny. I think mockumentaries are usually funny anyway. This one is particularly funny. It is by Flight of the Conchords people, but it's not Flight of the Conchords. Completely different thing. If you like Flight of the Conchords, you might like this as well. 4 vampires. Each vampire has their little story that they share, about when and how they became a vampire. One of them is, 3,000 years old, I think it says. The oldest vampire looks very much like Nosferatu. He doesn't talk. And then you have the other ones that are more flamboyant and more out there in a more mainstream vampire kind of way. Each of them dress accordingly to when they were turned. So all 4 of them really, but the oldest, Peter, he's a bit of an exception because he's very like Nosferatu, dark robe. Voldemort, he's got a Voldemort dress on, and then the other 3, they all have their own styles. They all talk about, when they were turned. They show the crew, their house, when they go out into their nightlife. They like to go to clubs. They use vampire lore in the middle of everyday normal things. For a vampire to come into a house, he needs to be invited. That's the same thing when going to a nightclub. So they can never go into a nightclub because the bouncers won't let them in. And they make friends with a human. The human is showing them, things that they've never seen, like the sunset, through a computer, obviously. And just showing them parts of life that they hadn't experienced since they became vampires hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Everything is new and different to them. It is just really funny how much they like their human. He's their friend. He's legitimately their friend. And that is really funny because one of them does have a servant. And she's treated completely different. There is a bit of a negotiation going around because the only reason why she's being the servant is because she wants to be turned into a vampire. And he uses that. She's always very frustrated because she wants to be turned. She does all the things, shows her ironing their clothes and everything. And they have, of course, the rivalry with the werewolves. What do you think about werewolves? You think about, dogs, but a more savage, unruly version of dogs. And these werewolves, they were calm, they were polite. It's full of things that just make you laugh, full of jokes. It's just full of jokes and funny situations. Even the conflicts, the things that go wrong are shown in a funny way. It has a really cool soundtrack. I felt it was very kind of folkloric. Their house is very run down and dusty, and even though they do try to clean, and you see them cleaning and everything, and that's also funny. It is still very sort of old style wallpaper and furniture, and when I say old, I mean hundreds of years. When they go outside and they experience New Zealand nightlife, it's a clash, because they're all dressed wearing 100-year-old costumes. It's just normal present day outside. They have accents that are not a New Zealand accent. It is almost like, I don't know how to explain it, a vampire affectation. It all comes down in the end to the unholy masked ball, and is all for the undead. It has all kinds of different mythological creatures. Definitely watch it if you haven't. If you have, watch it again, because I've seen this movie a few times and it's still funny every time. Can wait for the new series to come out and have a laugh at that too. I would say for this one, good old popcorn is the way to go with this one because you're laughing too much. See you next time.